Okay, so we are live. We should see our participants trickling in just a second here. And with that, I am the facilitator today. So, of course, welcome to our participants. Welcome to our students today. This is the virtual college exploration for all Pennsylvania students, sponsored by the Pennsylvania Association for College Admission Counseling and StriveScan. Just a couple quick housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. Your camera and your microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you today. And this is just one of the many sessions happening, so please be sure to check out the full schedule at pacac.org, pacac.org. The session is being recorded and it will be available within about a week at that same website, pacac.org. And with that, I'm going to turn it right over to our presenters.
Hi, everybody. My name is Gabby. I am from Duquesne University in Pittsburgh, PA. I hope everyone's doing well. I know with these trying times, everything's been kind of uneasy, unsettling. Nobody really knows what's going on the day of or next day. So I just want to say thank you for joining us, as I know we all have our hands full, especially nowadays. So thanks for joining us. I'm here with a few of my colleagues, and we're going to talk about why college location matters. Our formal title is Urban, Suburban, or Rural, Why College Location Matters. So first I want to start off by having us introduce ourselves. Like I said, my name is Gabby. I am an admissions counselor at Duquesne. I've been at Duquesne for about a year, but I am going on my 9th year of college admissions. So I've been in the field for quite some time. We have a couple of other of my colleagues here from nearby schools, and I will start off by giving it to Melanie.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm so glad you are joining us today. My name is Melanie Gable, and I am an Assistant Director of Enrollment at Carlow University. I have been with Carlow for 13 years now, so working in all different angles of the admissions process, through just asking questions, through financial aid, all the way through matriculation. So hopefully we can give you some good information today. And I'm going to hand it over to Tori.
Hi everyone, my name is Tori and I'm an admissions counselor at LaRoche University in the suburbs of Pittsburgh. I've been at LaRoche for a little over 2 years, but I was a tour guide in college, so I'd like to say I've been in the admissions field for 6 years, but that's a little bit about me. I can't wait to talk to you a little bit more about our topic today, and I will hand it over to Nicole to introduce herself.
Hi everyone, my name is Nicole. I work at Saint Vincent College in the admission department. I have been here for a little over 4 years, and as you can see, we all represent different types of settings when it comes to college. Saint Vincent is in Latrobe, which is a rural community, and I'm looking forward to talking about that more in a bit.
And if you're doing a double take, Nicole and I are identical twins. We represent 2 different institutions with the same type of job. So we are glad you are all here, and thank you all for introducing yourselves. And Tori, I'm going to give it to you.
All right, so I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about why location is important in your college decision process. You can see a few of the things that we put over on our slide there. The first being comfort level and the right fit. So for example, let's say you like small class sizes, you like small environments, you want a good just college campus feel, you might not want to go to school in a big city. If you love the adventure of big cities and you want to try something new, and that would be the right fit for you and what you're comfortable with, then you might want to look to go to school in a city. So it really always depends on what you're comfortable with and what would be the right fit for you. Obviously, the right fit for you isn't going to be the right fit for everybody else. Our second bullet point there about your network. So your network is important too. Wherever you decide to go to school, you're going to build some sort of network. That might be with your classmates and other students that you meet. It might be with your professors. It could be with internships that you do over the summer or during the semester, but you're building up a network. So if you want to build up a strong network to help you once you graduate, you might want to go to school somewhere that you can see yourself being after graduation. You don't always have to end up where you go to school. I went to school in Ohio. I'm back in Pittsburgh now. And I still built a network while I was in school of people that were from Pittsburgh or were familiar with the Pittsburgh area, or just like companies that were in Ohio that are also in Pittsburgh. So you have options, but you might want to think about your network and how you're going to use that after you graduate. And that kind of is the same thing as a local job market. Pittsburgh, we have a great hospital system. We have a lot of opportunities for nurses, other types of jobs that are in the hospital system. We have a great local job market for that. So going to school in the city or outside of the city of Pittsburgh is great if you want to be somewhere in the health field. It might not be a great city for other types of jobs. So just consider, like, for example, if you want to be a marine biologist, we're not near the ocean. So if you want to go somewhere where you're going to have good opportunities for jobs after graduation, just consider what the local job market is like there. Safety, of course, is also super important. You'll find that every college and university is required to put safety statistics on their website. I recommend checking them out and seeing what it's like on all of those campuses. You'll find that most college campuses, I would say, are pretty safe. They have a lot of times their own public safety on campus that patrols and make sure that everything is going well. But like I said, that's something that you can look up for yourself and see the statistics of that campus. Values is something you also want to consider what your own values are and how those translate to where you go to school. So for example, if you are Methodist and that is a very important value to you and the closest Methodist church is 20 minutes away, you would have to either have a car to drive there or know somebody that can take you there or find a way to get there. So you have to consider what's important to you and how you will find those things at your college or university. And then campus centrality. I know for me, I wanted a central college campus. I did not want to be walking across this middle of a busy street on my way to class. Some people like that. It really is whatever you're comfortable with, but that is something you also might want to consider. I went to college on a campus where there were no traffic lights. There were maybe a few stop signs, but that's about it. So everything was really close together. It took about 5 minutes to walk to all of my classes. And I was never walking across busy streets, which is something that I really wanted and valued in a school. But like I said, if you want something busier and more exciting, then you can look for schools that are a little more spread out. And I'll hand it over to Nicole.
So what are some things to consider when you are choosing a college or university? The number one thing I always mention to my students is the culture. How is the culture of the campus? For instance, is there Greek life? Do you want to be at a campus where there is constant events happening for Greek life? Because a lot of universities have it, a lot of universities don't. If that's something that is big in your culture that you want to incorporate, then that's something to consider. And of course, athletics as well. Is athletics big on your campus or is it not? And clubs, is there a lot offered there for clubs and organizations on campus? For instance, just like Tori was saying, if rowing is something that really interests you, but if your high school doesn't have rowing, or if you're unfamiliar with it and you want to be on a team, does that location have it. So that's something to consider. And experiential learning is something to consider as well, on and off campus. And we have UPMC listed on here because the three institutions, Duquesne, Carlow, and LaRoche, are all close to Pittsburgh. And UPMC is obviously a huge organization within that city where you can experience experiential learning. So for instance, nursing, I know UPMC is used for a lot of nursing schools within the Pittsburgh area. If that's something that is really a priority for you, consider that. For instance, Saint Vincent, UPMC isn't as big in Latrobe, even though we're an hour east of Pittsburgh, but we use Excella Health instead. But if UPMC is something you really want to have on your resume, then definitely consider that, for example. And what is nearby? Do you want to walk to class? Do you want to take a bus to class? Do you want to sit at a local Starbucks and do your homework, or do you want to go to a library? That's something to consider too. A lot of institutions don't have nearby places like a Starbucks to walk to, and the only thing they have on campus is their tiny little coffee shop. Is that going to be good enough for you? So if you think of examples like that, that will definitely help you throughout your exploration. And what to do on weekends. A lot of campuses aren't big, weekend type of campuses. Sometimes they're ghost towns. So for instance, a lot of campuses, there's not a lot of activity going on because students either leave and go home on the weekends, or they visit, friends or family. Is that something that really means a lot to you? And your commute as well. So when you're in college, it's a little different from high school. For breaks, you're going to have more breaks in college than you do for high school, especially for airfare. Are you going to be able to go home every break when it comes to even the money, the cost of it, and the accessibility of it? For instance, at Saint Vincent, we're in Latrobe, we have an airport across the road from us. So we actually have a lot of students who leave to go home on breaks. It acts as an actual airport. Like Florida, we have a lot of students from Florida who are able to go home because we have that local airport. So those are just some things to consider when you are picking a college or university. And I will hand it off. Actually, I'm going to keep going, or I'll hand it off to Gabby.
Yeah, so we kind of gathered some quotes here from students and why they love the college that they chose, or how important location is for them when they were looking at colleges. So I took some quotes from students who work in our office here at Duquesne, and why they chose Duquesne and why location was such a big part of their decision. And I'm going to quote a couple of these first, and then I'll talk to you a little bit more about Duquesne's location and why it's so attractive to prospective students. So first here we have Hannah. She is a forensic science and law major from Buffalo, New York. She says, I love Duquesne because you have your own private campus in the middle of the city. During the winter months, my friends and I love to walk down to Market Square and go ice skating at PPG. We also have Leah. She is a corporate communications major from Indiana, PA. Think of like IUP area. She says, I love having my own campus to call home with so many things to do nearby. I love food, so my favorite thing is checking out restaurants and food trucks in the city. Everything is within walking distance and it's extremely safe. So she kind of pointed out some factors there that you could tell were high on her priority list. So she wanted to go somewhere where she could just walk for off-campus food nearby. Lots of options for that. She mentioned that there. She says it's extremely safe, kind of like what Tori was mentioning. You want to make sure you do your research on the safety factor. Hannah mentioned how it's a private campus in the middle of the city. So kind of like how Tori was mentioning, if you want to go to kind of an enclosed campus-like, park-like feel, that's something you want to look for in terms of location. Some campuses are out in the open. So for instance, at Duquesne, we are kind of both. So I always like to describe Duquesne as a little hill with a little community and village on the hill. And that hill, it just happens to be in the middle of downtown. Every time I meet with students, because of COVID, we are meeting outside. And where our meeting place is located, there's lots of trees and the leaves are changing. It's very collegiate looking. But behind those trees, I see the Steel Building and lots of different buildings from downtown kind of in the background. I always say, and this is so true, it looks like there's a green screen behind those trees, that those buildings just shouldn't be there because we feel like we're in the middle of a very quaint, kind of quiet area. So it is kind of a big reason why students are attracted to Duquesne, because they get the best of both worlds. So that's a little bit on the Duquesne side, what our students are saying, and with our location, why it's a big attractive factor for students. But next I'm going to pass it off. We're each going to kind of do our schools. And I think we have Nicole next. So back to you, Nicole.
Okay, so as you can see, SVC has this open and warm feeling because of where it's located, and Pittsburgh being close by. So you could read Gary from New Jersey. He wrote that comment there. And then Gabby from Pittsburgh, not this Gabby, another Gabby. It's not too crowded, but there's a lot to do. Campus is beautiful. You meet a lot of people, small rural campus, yet having cities close by truly makes your experience overall better. So to give you an idea of where we are located, as I said prior, we are about an hour east of Pittsburgh on Route 30. So we are truly in a rural community. We have no big buildings around. There's lots of fields, lots of cornfields. It's truly very mountainous. It's very scenic, honestly. It's actually a very nice area. But at the same point in time, I always tell my students, we have a Walmart across Route 30. We have, restaurants and shops as well. So you're not really going to get the hustle and bustle of the city, but you will get some interaction. So as these two testimonials were saying, it's a warm feeling. It's very welcoming because it is in the country. So it kind of does have that country hospitality feel to it. And I went to Saint Vincent and I grew up in Pittsburgh, and I remember coming to Saint Vincent and breathing in the air, and it felt fresher, it felt cleaner. So that was something that attracted me to that. But even with these testimonials, they're saying the campus is nice and beautiful, but there's something to do. So as we were talking about before, the culture of the campus, is there always events going on? Do the campus student activities center, do they have things going on constantly for students to get involved in? Since we aren't in the city, we really don't have things readily available. We don't have an ice skating rink to go to, just down the road. And, we don't have a market square or places like that. So is the institution providing those resources to the students, to get that? So I agree, it's the best of both worlds. If you want, the city, you can go into it, but you can always come back and have the quiet country as well. So, okay, so I think next is Tori.
Thank you. So like I said, I'm an admissions counselor at LaRoche University. We're in the North Hills of Pittsburgh, so we're in the suburbs about 15-20 minutes from downtown. So our two testimonials here, we have Dahlia. She's a psychology major from the U.S. Virgin Islands. And she said the campus is right across from a shopping center, so I knew there would be things nearby if I needed anything. And Tila, she's a business management major from Titusville, Pennsylvania. She said, I really liked that LRU wasn't directly in the city, but it was close enough that I could visit anytime I wanted to. It felt like the best of both worlds. So I'm biased, but agree that it is the best of both worlds, being in the suburbs of Pittsburgh. LaRoche's campus is right across the street from McCandless Crossing, which is an outdoor shopping center. So there's lots of restaurants, stores you can shop in. There's an Old Navy that I spend way too much time in, a movie theater for the students, a Dick's Sporting Goods. And that is within walking distance. So a lot of students will actually also get part-time jobs there because they can walk right across the street and be at work. They don't need their car. They're welcome to bring your car as a first-year student if you want, but you don't need it being right across the street from all of those things. Also right down the road is Ross Park Mall, which is another great place for shopping. The bus can take you there. We also have shuttles on campus that will take you to the nearby Giant Eagle, which is a grocery store, or any other type of shopping needs that you need. They sometimes take you to Target, which is always fun. And we're also 5 minutes away from North Park, which is a huge outdoor park that has a big lake. So you can kayak on the lake, you can paddleboard. There's hiking trails, biking trails. If you don't like any outdoor activities, there's a nice restaurant that sits on the lake. So you could just sit there and look at how pretty it is. Especially right now as the leaves are changing, it's really awesome that it's only a 5-minute drive from campus. So kind of like Tila said, we're the best of both worlds. We have our own little campus right in the suburbs, but we're 15-20 minutes from downtown Pittsburgh. All of the internship, job opportunities, Steeler games, musicals, all that fun stuff is just a short drive away. And I will hand it over to Melanie to talk to us a little about Carlow's location.
Thank you, Tori. So we have a really interesting group of schools here today that represent rural, suburban, and urban settings. So Carlow, we are located, if you can see in the picture, we are that square campus right outside of the city. We are located right on 5th Avenue in the Oakland section of Pittsburgh. Oakland oftentimes is referred to as the meds, eds, and tech industry of Pittsburgh. We are really in the cultural, academic, medical, and academic hub of the city of Pittsburgh where we're located. So it's a really interesting place to be a college student. There's just so much surrounding you. And some of the testimonials that I have here today, I have Jillian, who is a political science major. She says, location is everything. Oakland has so many opportunities for networking, entertainment, and all the academics with the neighboring university. In addition to Carlow, create a hub for new ideas, and I can't read it, I have my little pictures of covering academic success for people of all ages. Then I have Tavia, who is a biology with perfusion technology major. She says, it's so nice to be in the city with all of the opportunities, but feel the safety and serenity of our small, secluded campus. So as Tavia's mentioning here, our campus is small. We're about 14 acres of a private campus. It's just us, located on the hill, kind of like Gabby said Duquesne was. Pittsburgh, everything's on a hill when you're in Pittsburgh, so that's not uncommon, but it is a private 14-acre campus. That's just us. And I know there was different things that we mentioned about picking location that kind of come into play here. So going from class to class on a 15 acre campus takes you about 5 minutes to get to your class. Now there are some huge, rolling, beautiful campuses that it could take you 30, 45 minutes to walk to your next class. Now, if that's something that you love, being outside and walking, that might be something you're looking for. If you're the type of person who does not like the cold, doesn't like walking, you might want to think about that when you're choosing a location. Am I going to want to wake up 45 minutes before I have the start of my class to get to my next class? Things like that. At Carlow, because we're located in Oakland, we really have the benefit of being able to utilize the Oakland section of Pittsburgh and the city of Pittsburgh as an extension of our campus. We have a very active art major. So all of the museums that we have surrounding us, our art majors are constantly going out and about, and we do have free admission to certain museums and things like that as a college student. Because of where we're located, we have lots of majors related to the health field, a fantastic nursing program. And as we mentioned earlier, our nursing majors do have the opportunity to do clinical rotations at UPMC, but we're not just strictly UPMC. We also use Allegheny Health Network. So there are two big health systems in Pittsburgh, UPMC and Allegheny Health Network, that our nursing majors do have the opportunity to do clinical rotations. They actually end up doing clinical rotations in a minimum of 8 different hospitals. That's huge. I mean, that's including Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh for the pediatric rotation. That's including McGee Women's Hospital for labor and delivery unit. That's including Western Psychiatric for psych units. And that's kind of unheard of for nursing programs outside of the city of Pittsburgh. Generally, you're kind of strictly in one hospital for each one of your rotations. at Carlow and at any of the city schools, you do have the benefit of being able to get clinical experience really at some of the best hospitals in the country. So when you're thinking about location, thinking about where am I going to do my clinical experiences? Where am I going to do my internships? Do I have to travel an hour and a half to get one of those great internships, or are they going to be surrounding me? At Carlow, our campus is directly beside Presby and Montefiore hospitals and right up from McGee Women's Hospital. So our campus is in some cases closer to the hospitals than some of their parking lots are because of the shuttle systems and things like that. So students are able to just wake up and get to the hospital for their clinical experiences. And if you're looking into anything with clinical rotations, they generally start very, very early. 6:30 a.m. general start time. So again, taking that commute into consideration. And if you are looking for those experiential learning experiences, if you're looking for service opportunities, what is the school you're looking at offering? Are they offering different things surrounding service? Are they offering different things surrounding social justice? Are they offering things that you're passionate about? Are there those opportunities for you to grow those passions? So there's always something for you to look into when you're looking for location. So you might be thinking, well, I definitely know I don't want to go to a city school. I'm not a city person. I prefer an urban or rural setting. Also want to take those different things into consideration when you're thinking about that. Or you might think I need the hustle and bustle of a city, but then realize, well, this school doesn't have the major I'm looking into, but this school does. But I love the feeling of being here with all of my classmates, building this network with my professors, with my classmates in this setting. That might be something to look for as well. So that kind of leads me right into the next slide. Words of advice and encouragement. So when you are looking at location, when you are trying to pick a school, there are so many factors to consider, and location is just one of them. So when you're thinking about location, like we said over and over, you know, the choices when it comes to internships, the choices when it comes to clubs and organizations, athletics, things like that. But when you do start looking for a school, the biggest thing that we can all, and I think we all agree on, you have to visit. Visiting is huge. I think Gabby or Nicole said it, the school, you don't pick a school, the school picks you. I think that was really a clever saying, because when you get on campus, I don't know what it is, you feel it. You feel like, yes, this is home, this is where I belong, this is the place for me. And without visiting, you can't get that feeling. You can't have that moment of, this feels right to me. So visit if you can. I know there's some restrictions now because of the pandemic, but I know campuses are open to some form of visits, whether that be a virtual visit, whether that be a condensed tour, we are open to some types of visits. So get out there, visit a city school, visit a rural school, visit a suburban school, visit all of them to feel what it's like and ask those questions. Ask the questions. Does it have what I'm looking for? Another piece of advice is don't pick a school solely based on location. If you love the school, if it feels right, but it doesn't have the major you want to major in, that might not be the right choice for you. If you're looking at a school and you fall in love with it, but it doesn't have the opportunities to get involved with your passions, that might not be the right pick for you. Look at all kinds of different aspects when you are touring. Ask the questions. Utilize us, the admissions counselors. That's what we're here for, to work with you through this whole process, to answer those questions. And really, our job is to connect you with the right fit. We want you to be happy where you land. It might not be at one of our schools, but we can certainly answer your questions and guide you in the right direction to find the school that will be the perfect fit for you. Another piece of advice is don't panic. I know making this decision is a big decision. I know it could be a lot on your shoulders and it could be weighing heavy on you right now, but don't panic. We will walk you through step by step. And that first semester, one piece of advice is everybody is going through this transition. If you go 10 minutes down the road from you, if you travel 6 hours away, if you go 14 hours away from your home and you pick a campus that's that far away, don't panic. Everybody's going through the same thing. Everybody is experiencing the same transition as you are. If they're 5 minutes away or if they're 14 hours away, it's a new experience for everybody. Give it a chance. Don't panic that first 2 weeks and say, this isn't for me, I can't do this. Give it a chance. Settle in. Make your connections. Join in clubs and organizations. Find your passions and give it a shot. Give it a chance. Don't panic. Those first 2 weeks, everybody is panicking. Trust me. Another a big piece of advice, talk to students. Talk to students if you can. They have experiences. They're going through similar things that you're going through. You may not want to just talk to the admissions counselors throughout the whole process. I know at Carlow, we call them Spirit Ambassadors, the student promotion and recruitment team. Our Spirit Ambassadors work with us. They are here to chat with you. If you want to talk with an athlete, maybe you're concerned, can I be an athlete and also major in this major? Is it going to be too much? Talk with an athlete. Talk with not just a student, talk with a professor. Talk with somebody who will maybe be a mentor for you throughout the 4 years that you're on campus. There's so many things to consider. Location is one big piece of that, but there are so many other pieces of advice that we can certainly talk through you with any questions or concerns that you may have. Do you guys have anything that you want to add with that, with words of advice or encouragement?
I want to mention something quickly. Very well said. I had some experience with transfer admission. So students who are currently in a college or have some type of college who want to transfer to an institution to graduate. And believe it or not, I've worked with so many students, a high percentage, who transferred out of their host institution because of the location. So it's your home away from home. Even if you don't live there, even if you commute, it's going to be a big part of your experience. So you want to make a well thought and a well-informed decision before you move forward. Just a quick little story I want to share. When I was in my transfer days, I was working with a student. She loved the school I was working for because we had a very unique major. And the reason why she heard about us was because she was looking for this type of major. So she was from the South, and as she was searching, she said, I really don't know anything about Pittsburgh. I don't know anything about the North. There are so many things that this is a completely 180 for me. So she was sold on our programs. She was accepted, and the only thing she had to do was visit. And she made a visit. Her parents came. They kind of met her halfway, and she ended up loving the major, but the actual campus and culture was not a good fit for her, and she ended up not enrolling. So even though we were a school with a very, not rare, but it was an uncommon major that's not offered everywhere, she decided to go elsewhere. And if she didn't visit, she wouldn't have made that decision. And I know nowadays it's easier said than done to say, oh, just visit, it's no big deal. But make sure if you want to visit a campus, if it's far away, obviously it's going to require lots of planning. But some colleges even offer some type of assistance with helping you getting there for a visit, because everybody's on the same page. We all agree that this is going to be a visit worth taking, even if it does become some sort of small investment for you. So just kind of something to keep in mind with that, with visits, and the importance of going to the campus. And one last thing to touch on that with the visits, most schools offer an opportunity to sit in on a class. So ask admissions if you could do that as well. Sometimes they'll plan a day, an all-day agenda where you meet with a current student, meet with a professor, go to class, maybe in the cafeteria, and then leave after your trip. So these types of visits are always possible. And again, pre-COVID, things could be changing. And I know everything's put on hold right now, but I can't stress the importance of that.
I have a piece too to add. One just word of advice is to think practically. If you're somebody who sees your family, like extended family, once a week at your cousin's baseball game or your uncle's birthday, if you're somebody that is super family centric, it might not be practical to think that you would be comfortable being 5 hours away from them. So I just recommend thinking practically and thinking about what that looks like for you, just because you don't want to be stuck in a place where you're 5 hours away and you're so upset that you can't be going to your cousin's baseball game or your uncle's birthday party every weekend. So that's my piece of advice, is to think practically.
So I think if nobody else has anything to add, we're going to kind of open it up for questions. We have about 10 minutes. So want to see if anybody has any questions regarding anything we went over. But I think it's going to be worth mentioning, while you guys think of questions, what each individual school, what we're doing in terms of visits with the pandemic and with COVID. So I'll start very quickly. At Duquesne, we are allowing in-person tours on campus. Our tours, they modified them. They are very limited. The only building that our prospective students are going inside are the dorms, the residence halls. Everything else, so they're not able to see the gym or the cafeteria, things like that. It's mostly an outdoor tour, with the exception of seeing a dorm. And with that, we do allow a limited amount of people. People have to wait in the lobby while 2 people go in at a time. So we are allowing that. And we also do group tours Mondays, Fridays, and Saturdays. So if Saturdays are better for you, we do have the option of weekend tours. Always have a virtual visit as well, where you could do a virtual tour and then also attend a virtual information session, which is always done in person after tours, before tours as well.
I know here at LaRoche, we have the option of doing virtual or in-person visits. So whatever you're more comfortable with, you are able to do that. Our virtual visits work similarly, where you can do a virtual tour and meet with an admissions counselor virtually. But if you would rather come for an in-person visit, or if you're comfortable doing that, you can do that as well. You would meet with an admissions counselor like myself, and then go out on a tour with your tour guide. You are able to see pretty much the entirety of campus minus the dining hall. So you can go into the fitness center, the dorm room, the academic buildings. The only thing that we require is that your temperature is taken at the door. We ask you a few questions to kind of screen and make sure that you've been in a good situation recently in the past 2 weeks. And then you'll get a little wristband that says, I've been screened, I have an okay temperature, that's normal. And from there, you're able to go on the visit as long as you wear your mask for the entirety of the visit.
I guess I'll go next. So Carlo, we have restricted our visits a little bit because of the pandemic. So we are open for in-person visits on Mondays and Fridays only, and that's on appointment only. And like Tori said, you do get screened upon entering the campus, get your temperature checked and ask a few questions, and then you get a sticker for the day that is dated that you can wear that shows that you've been screened. Our tours are a bit limited. Can pretty much see all academic buildings, but the residence hall is taken offline for the tour. We do want to keep all of our current resident students safe. So the residence halls are taken offline of the tour, and the gym and the cafeteria, I believe, are offline as well. But we are open for in-person visits Monday through Friday with a one-on-one with an admissions counselor and a tour. We also have virtual events that go on throughout the week. Pretty much every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we have some sort of virtual event happening on campus. That can be just a general overview about Carlow, the admissions process. Some are more tailored to things like an athletics overview. Some are very specific related to certain majors, so an academic overview. So pretty much every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we have some sort of virtual event going on as well. And you can see all of those on our website at carlow.edu under tours and visiting. We do have some Saturday tours planned as well if weekends work better for you.
Okay, so at Saint Vincent, it's very similar to what LaRoche and Carlow and Duquesne are doing. We offer visits in person every day, of course, by appointment only. We don't do walk-ins, and we also have we have the tours, but they're cut in half. So they're normally an hour, now they're a half hour. And I think it's interesting to hear what everyone's doing with the with the dorm rooms. We are not offering tours in the dorms, but we have a virtual tour available for that. And as I said, we have Saturday visits as well, by appointment only. And once you come to campus, you will get, we give you Saint Vincent masks and hand sanitizer, and you'll get a folder and a t-shirt, and you'll meet one-on-one with your counselor, and social distancing, of course, and outdoors if possible. And then you'll get a condensed tour. And if you're an athlete, meet with a coach, or if you're interested in meeting with a professor, you meet with a professor. We are not offering in-class visits at this time currently, and normally pre-COVID, we also do overnight visits. So in the spring semester, once you're an accepted student, you could do an overnight visit as well to really get the feel of campus. So that's basically what we offer in a nutshell. I think, Tori, you have some questions, right?
Yes, I have another question from the audience here. Let's say that a student is from the suburbs, they're really considering going to school in the middle of a city. That's what they think is the right fit for them. How would you suggest they adjust to their new environment?
We'll start with that one, and then I'll hand it over to Gabby, since we're kind of both located in the city. Our schools are located there. The very first step would be to build your close-knit comfort zone on campus. Get to know your roommate, get to know your neighbor in the residence hall, get to know everybody around you, and get acclimated with the campus first. That is your first and foremost that you want to get acclimated with, because you will be spending the most time there. Get to know everybody around you, get comfortable, and then start exploring together. And if you have a support system with you to go out and start exploring what's all around you, that will make the experience that much better, that much more enjoyable. So build your network, find your friends, and start exploring. Get out there. Don't sit around and say, oh, I don't know what there is to do. Talk, ask questions, look at the flyers. There's flyers and posters and just kind of announcing all over campus what there is to do and what's happening. There's emails, especially if you're kind of in the Oakland area. There's just so much going on for college students. I always tell the students that I work with, pay attention to this stuff, because it's going to become background after a while. It's going to be another poster that you see, another email of something that's going on. Pay attention to this stuff and start exploring. Get out there, walk around. Don't be afraid to see what is out there and available to you.
Thanks, Melanie. We had another question that is for all of us. Do your campuses have any graphic designing programs or courses? So I'll start with that. LaRoche has a great graphic design program. It's one of our best majors here. And we have a really good relationship with a lot of the businesses and organizations in the Pittsburgh area. So a lot of our students are getting jobs right after graduation. They're required to do an internship while they're here, and they have a lot of great experiences. During the spring, they usually do a show where they show all of their work that they've done over the semester. And we've actually had students that have been hired on the spot during one of these shows, just because the employers were impressed with their work. So graphic design is definitely a major here, and is something that we're very proud of at LaRoche. And I will hand it off for the other presenters.
We also have graphic design at Saint Vincent. We have a Mac lab that is designated exclusively for graphic design majors, and we have different concentrations that you can study as well if you're interested in different aspects of graphic design. And since we don't have a lot of time, I'll hand it off to Gabby.
Duquesne also has graphic design. It's a digital media arts major with a concentration within that major. So yes, we have that as an option. So come check us out.
Carlow does as well. Now ours is a studio arts major, and then that graphic design piece is also added on with that. So it is studio arts major with a graphic design focus. So you still get that studio art experience as well as that more technical piece with the graphic design.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for our audience and participants, and we were very happy to have you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, awesome. So just to go ahead and officially wrap us up today, just to echo what everyone is saying, thank you all so much for joining us. And so you know, when you close your window today, there will be a link to a very quick 4-question survey, and we'd really appreciate any feedback that you can provide us. As I said at the beginning, this was just one of the many sessions being hosted, so please feel free to sign up for any additional sessions at pacac.org. And in about a week, you'll be able to find this session's recording as well as our other session recordings, same website, pacac.org. Thank you all.